What up guys, today's hot take is brought to you by DJ Esports. You can earn up to 800k USDT in the free to enter DJ Esports World's Prediction Series. Sign up with the link in the description and get 400 DJT free. Alright guys, for today's hot take, I want to talk about Dephh from XSET, aka Rory Jackson, or should I say Rory Jackson, aka Dephh. And I want to ask or beg or pose the idea that he might be the most underrated IGL in North America. And I got a couple reasons for that thought. So first off, I played with Rory back on Complexity days. So my idea initially of that made me excited about him being an IGL was that when I played with him, he always had a good idea of the team vibe. He always had a good idea of the chemistry that was happening in the players and who should play bomb sites with each other. He's always kind of attuned to where the team was at and, okay, I don't like that, or this guy's not doing well with this guy for this reason. And then on top of that, he was always the first to call out like a weakness in a strat. We'd be running something and he would say, oh, that felt like uncomfortable. The idea was good, but this or this, and to simplify it. And you could tell he always wanted to be involved, but we had multiple strat callers on the team, and that's a whole other story. But that's the start of where I saw Rory could do that role as a tactician, but also as a leader, as someone who really is attuned to the team's vibes. Now, the other benefit is he's been playing Valorant since the game came out, and he's always seemed to pick up other games fast, and he has a good mindset. And there's a lot of players that you could say that are like this in terms of ready to play new games, ready to adapt. But I think from the get-go, Rory had a strong foundation as an IGL, and I think he's already got to the point where the experience he has in this game and what he's had in Counter-Strike has probably led him to the point where he's learned a lot of little things. For instance, I remember when I first IGL'd, you start to realize, you know, the way you communicate to your players, the way that you make ideas a little more concise, the way you prep versus the way you play, and how you marry those two. And I think, you know, he's someone who at this point has had those opportunities, and I think is in a right position to be considered one of the best IGLs in North America in this game. And I've started to pay closer attention to him in the NA LCQ, and I've noticed he's also more than just the IGL that has good ideas and has, you know, the thoughts about or the feelings to the team's vibe and the energy of the team. Those are really important. And I think you know, you could have just a good strat caller that's not super aware of the vibe of the team, but he knows how to maybe talk to people like assertively, but he's not going to talk to every player perfectly. I think Rory has a really high ceiling for being a good IGL because he knows how to talk to people and he knows how to talk to a wide variety of people. But more than just that, Rory, two things I wanted to note from when I watched him play in the NALCQ. One, he's an experienced lurker. Like, he is someone who is not just sitting in the back and that was my point with the other qualities. He's not just sitting there thinking about the plays and he's not having any impact. And he's not just sitting there thinking about the vibe and not making good plays and not having good strategy for the team. It seems like he's actually maybe the full package, guys. He's got the experience. He's got the plays. He seems like he's setting up his team. I've heard his team talk highly of the way he's approaching as an IGL. He has a good attitude and he's making these impact plays as a lurker. And you see it a big time on Ascent when he's walking through like mid-market, flank and tree. There's a couple of different plays from the 100 Thieves series that I saw him do that in. And then not only that, is he seems to rise to the occasion. I noticed, I think in LG series and in 100T series, he top fragged the third map of both series. Now, frags aren't everything, especially for an IGL. You don't really need to look at frags too often, but frags are a big part of this game and any first-person shooter. And so you don't want to feel like your IGL is ever dead weight. And I think that's the opposite with him. I think, you know, he is, and especially as he builds into his IGL role, he's going to have games where he's just so heavily focused on anti-stratting or just calling the game for his team that I think as their team builds more confidence, I think he's going to be someone to keep an eye on. I think, you know, that's normally what happens as a team gets fearsome, like in Counter-Strike we had Astralis, or even in this game Sentinels, right? ShahZaM strat calling. Well, as their team gets confidence, you see ShahZaM play so well because he's able to lighten the load. He kind of knows his game plan and he runs with that confidence. I think it's going to be really cool when we see Dephh and the rest of the boys at XSET get some confidence, because I think he's someone who can go to that next level when the team's getting good results and he's not just going to be a gimmicky IGL.